Hello and welcome to Anime Memories, and on this episode I'm going to be talking about the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. When it comes to the original Haruhi TV series, it's probably one of my least favourite anime. I hated the characters, I thought the story was stupid, and I thought the way that they decided to tell that story was even stupider. So, believe me when I say that this film is fucking awesome! I was tipped off about this when watching a review from a guy called Lava Buster who hated the Haruhi TV show as much as I did. When he talked positively of this movie, I was like, no way, really? I have to check this out. And it turns out he was completely right. I enjoyed it immensely. You know, even looking back on it today, I'm surprised at how much I ended up loving it. It starts off with Kyon and the rest of the SOS Brigade going through their standard routine of following whatever ridiculous plan Haruhi has come up with. However, the next day, he wakes up in a world where there is no SOS Brigade, many of his friends don't know who he is, and Haruhi is nowhere to be found. It's up to Kyon to find out what's going on so that he can return everything to normal. The first 15 minutes are standard Haruhi fluff, so the story takes a little while to get going. But when it does, the tone changes very quickly. It becomes much more serious since it deals with dark themes such as insanity and loneliness. For me personally, I've always favoured drama over comedy, so this change was pretty refreshing. Now there are lighthearted moments as well, but there's this constant air of tension that keeps you feeling uneasy. This tension is amplified by the slow pacing. It makes you feel like there's this massive event just looming throughout the entire story. One of the things I really liked was that Kyon's current situation makes him question if he even wants to go back to the old world. He was always complaining about how annoying Haruhi is and how life with her is so exhausting. He can escape from all of that by just living in this new universe. He struggles with this throughout the entire film, and it's a genuine dilemma, so it was interesting to see it play out. Another positive is they made a lot of changes to the characters, and because of this, I found them infinitely more likeable. For example, I have always seen Asahino as a moe blob with big tits and no personality, so having to see her so much in the TV series made me irritated. Now her personality hasn't changed, but she has been relegated to a minor supporting role, and since background characters don't really need a massive amount of depth, she works well here. Kyon is another character that technically hasn't had his personality changed, but the changes made to his surrounding environment have caused him to become significantly more emotional. Seeing him struggle so much in the early parts of the movie makes you really want to cheer for him when he suddenly finds a glimmer of hope. The character that has changed the most is Nagato, since she is now a regular shy girl. I think that this version of her is a great example of how to do a moe character properly. She has an incredibly timid and passive demeanour which makes her totally adorable. This helped me feel for her much more than when she was a stoic android. There was even this one scene that made me want to bawl my eyes out because I saw her heart being completely crushed. I never thought I could care this much for an anime character, especially one from the Haruhi franchise. Moving on to the visuals, and I remember the anime having very high quality art and animation. The film ends up surpassing this level of quality since they had a fairly large budget. I specifically loved how they used visual effects such as blur and shaky cam to emphasise the more emotional moments. I don't usually pay attention to things like art, animation or visual effects, but everything here just looks so damn beautiful that I couldn't help but notice it all. When I first saw this back in the day, I watched it subtitled, so when I recently bought the DVD, it was my first experience with the Haruhi dubcast. And holy crap, this dub is amazing! The way the voice actors deliver their lines sounds so natural, and it felt like I was listening to an actual conversation from real life people. The voices also perfectly match their characters' personalities, so props to the casting team. There are two actors I want to mention specifically, with the first one being Kyon's voice actor, Crispin Freeman. He does a great job of capturing Kyon's calm and sarcastic attitude, but he's also able to put a ton of feeling into the scenes where Kyon is freaking out. I also have a massive amount of respect for Michelle Ruff, who plays both the emotionless android version of Nagato and the more sensitive shy version from this alternate dimension. It can't have been easy to voice two completely different personalities of the exact same character. The only person I had a problem with was Wendy Lee, who plays Haruhi. Her voice was just a little bit too high pitched for my liking, but this is just a minor gripe in what overall is an amazing dub. The only major flaw I can think of is that if you haven't seen the TV series, a lot of plot details are going to go right over your head.
You remember we all played baseball together and went to an island and made a crappy movie?
What?
With me, I ended up avoiding the second season since I hated the first so much, and because of that, there were a lot of references that I just wasn't getting. They do attempt to explain the more important plot points, but it's still not very accessible to new viewers. It's also quite long, clocking in at 2.5 hours. It didn't drag too much, but there were a few places where I felt the movie could have been tightened up. To me, The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya is an absolute masterpiece. It stands as one of my favourite anime films, which is a big accomplishment considering how much I hated the TV series. If you're a Haruhi fan, you've probably already seen this, but if you're not, definitely check out the original anime first, since it gives you that much needed background knowledge. Even though I didn't really like it, I would still recommend it since my opinion seems to be in the minority. So anyway, thank you very much to everybody who watched this video. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave a comment, and if you like this video and want to see more, feel free to subscribe as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.